No, we'll talk about Warrior last. Dream 101 asks, is Superior Sigil of Night good even in day dungeons? Well, here's the thing with day dungeons. There's only 3 day dungeons. One of them is Ara, one of them is CM, and one of them is HOTW. I do not really care about HOTW or CM, so I will just use my night stuff in there, and I don't really care about the DPS loss. In Ara, on pretty much all my characters that I do Ara with, I have an Undead Slaying set of weapons as well, so that I always have max damage in Ara. So for Thief, the armor that you want, like most of the others, is Berserker with superior dollar for additional damage. All Berserker accessories, and then Berserker weapons. In the case of my Thief, the build I like to run is Dagger, Dagger, Sword, Pistol. There's definitely good builds using Sword, Dagger, but I'm not a big fan of those. I think this is the best setup, at least for my playstyle. I have a Fractal Dagger of Force. You can make this a Fractal Dagger of the Night, and I probably will. I apologize again for the mic. I can't do anything about it right now. The Superior Sigil of Night would be fine here. I'm using Force. I'll eventually someday replace it with Night. And Superior Dagger of Accuracy for the additional 5% chance to crit, which is important, as I'll talk about with the build. And again, Fractal Sword of Force. This could also be Night. And that will get you there. Fractal Pistol, also of Accuracy. In my inventory, I have a full set of Bloodlust stacking weapons, because with this build, you get to 100% chance to crit. With 100% chance to crit, you don't need Perception Stack, so you can just use Bloodlust. So it'll just boost your DPS pretty highly. And I use a Fractal Shortbow just for when I need to range or to help the team stack might if we have a guy dropping a fire field like a Lava Font Ellie. You can just use this to do blast finishers and build up might for your team. Good. When do you use each weapon set? We'll get into that real quick. When you're fighting bosses, single target, you want to be in Dagger Dagger, obviously. Dagger Dagger, the combo is Cloak and Dagger, Backstab, and then Auto Attack. And then once your Auto Attack chain goes through once, you can Cloak and Dagger, Backstab again. You're going to want to repeat that chain until the boss gets to about 40% health. And then once he's low like this, you go into Heartseeker mode. You just spam Heartseeker over and over again until the boss dies. It's pretty straightforward. The big key is not dying while you're doing it, because thieves are super squishy. Actually, Earthermiel, you do get fractal skins. I just got my second dagger recently and my second sword. So, as far as utilities go, for standard dungeons, I like Signet of Malice. It's the best heal. Signet of Malice with Pistol Whip is a full heal because you hit so many times. So you get good healing from Pistol Whip. The other good thing about Sword Pistol is it cleaves. So if you're fighting multiple trash mobs at the same time, you hit them all with your sword. Pretty good. And then Pistol, you create the blind field, and it just and you can keep it up permanently, and the mobs will be constantly blinded, and your team can just knock them down with ease. Which is why Thief is one of the most OP classes in Fractals. Except for the Dredge Fractal, you can blind pretty much all the trash mobs. Assassin Signet. Passive effect is increased 180 power, so that's like a passive 5% DPS boost. And when you activate it, you get 15% damage, which means when you go into Heartseeker mode, you pop your Assassin Signet, Heartseeker spam your day away, and kill the bosses the faster. Signet of Agility gives you increased precision. Passive, you cannot really beat that. It works out to be 180 precision. And then your third slot is sort of like your utility slot. You can do anything. I like Shadow Refuge. It's pretty darn useful in most dungeons. Giving your whole team stealth for a long time is good. The other one that you can use is Smokescreen. Blast in that and it gives your team stealth. So with the two together, you can chain stealth for a really long time. If you don't need stealth for any reason, Infiltrator Signet, it just passively gets you more initiative. And you're pretty good. As far as elites, I like Thieves Guild. Some people use Basilisk Venom. Some people use Dagger Storm because it's a reflect. But I think for the most part, Thieves Guild, pretty good. So traits. 25, 30, 0, 0, 15 is what I like. Healing inflicts poison is kind of useless. Sundering Strikes. This got buffed. Oh my god, awesome. With this new patch. They removed the internal cooldown from this, and they increased the chance of inflicting the vuln to 50%. So basically, a thief will now finally contribute a worthwhile amount of buffing to the team by helping keep the vuln up. Thieves auto attack with dagger attacks really fast, and with sword it cleaves. So and especially if you're pistol whipping, you're attacking 9 times in a very short amount of time. The new Sundering Strikes will really stack the vuln up super quickly. On this Doliac. Wow, it didn't proc once. Died too fast. Anyway, against bosses it helps. It just contributes to your team. Worthwhile trait. Lotus Poison, weaken them when you poison them, so your auto attack chain on dagger will inflict weakness. Whatever. Dagger training, 5% DPS increase with your dagger. Not really anything to argue with. And then Expose Weakness. 10% more damage if your target has a condition. As everyone knows, when you're in a dungeon, that every boss is going to have tons of conditions on them at every time. So basically a flat, permanent 10% DPS boost. Critical Strikes. You get a 5% extra chance of critical hit while your health is above 90. Since we're using Scholar Runes, our goal is to always be above 90. Side Strike. Gain critical hit chance increased by 7% when attacking from the side. So it's another... So we're looking at just these two traits, another 12%. With the Signet of Agility, we're at 67 plus 12. So we're at 79% chance to crit before Fury is considered. Opportunist. Critical hits have a chance to restore initiative. I believe this has an internal cooldown, so it's not as amazing as it would seem with Pistol Whip. I think it has a once per second internal cooldown, but it's still good. It keeps you able to keep your stuff going. They nerfed the Signet. Like, normally in this trait, I used to use Signet use, because it used to give you 2 initiative every time you activated a Signet, which made spamming your Signets when you went into Heartseeker mode really strong. But that got nerfed to 1 energy, or 1 initiative, so it's pretty shitty. I don't know that I would use Signet use. Really, the only thing good here is Practice Tolerance. It gives you, like, 1,500 health, which, I mean, is not nothing. And Thieves are so damn squishy that I think it actually is helpful. First Strikes. Damage is increased by 10% when you're above your initiative. We have a pretty big initiative pool. and we have a lot of ways to keep it there or keep it high. So that's a pretty strong DPS boost. Then Executioner, 20% damage while your foe's health is below 50%. You'll notice you'll be backstabbing a guy for like 10k, and then all of a sudden when he hits the 50% boost, you'll notice that all of a sudden you're hitting him for 12 or 13k, and it's because Executioner's kicking in, and it's just awesome. Trickery. Kleptomaniac, this got nerfed. It used to be 3 initiative. Now it's only 2. So I would always activate my steal when I was going into Heartseeker mode. But with only 2 initiative, it's not quite as good, but it's still worth doing. It's also worth doing to keep your initiative above 6 so that your first strikes sticks around longer. I would probably actually do it at the beginning of the fight early on to keep yourself above 6. You'll get more DPS in the long run. And then flanking strikes, 5% damage when attacking a foe from behind. So much of what you're doing, from side strike to flanking strike to backstab, is about attacking your foe from the side or behind, that it just pays to keep that in mind, and it all adds up to a huge DPS boost if you attack your foe from the side. And then preparedness increases your max initiative by 3. That's why we get this big initiative pool, and we're looking good with that. That's about it as far as Thief goes. I mean, you just really want to stay alive. Thieves are very, very squishy, so it pays to be mindful of your positioning and everything like that. As I touched on earlier, your critical chance is going to be well over 100%. 100% chance to crit is amazing, especially when we're having Berserker stats, so we don't need to worry about Assassin's gear. I know people have asked, what gear should I use? Should I use Assassins? Should I use Berserkers? You definitely want to stay with full Zerker on a Thief, because your chance to crit is so high, especially when you have Fury. Damn, 12k. No. So anyway, that's it for Thief. Does anyone have any questions? Alright, so I guess on. Any way to increase the health pool on a Thief? Practice Tolerance is basically it. See, without it, we'll just go to something else. I'm at 11.5. Practice Tolerance puts you to... So you're looking at 1,500 health from that, so you're pretty... About it for Thief.